Hello friends, today is day 30, bottling. That's right, the day we've all been waiting for. As usual, you are going to want to get together your equipment. You're going to need your racking cane and some tubing today, as well as your bottles. Be sure that your bottles are clean and sanitized, of course. When using Star Sand, you do want to make sure that you keep them completely submerged, but it usually only takes just a couple minutes until they reach sanitization. On top of that, you're also going to need your corks. There's a couple different cork options to choose from, and we'll cover that. And as well as that, you're going to need your corker. There's a lot of different corkers you can choose from. Again, we'll kind of go through that in a minute. For our 6-gallon kit, we are going to need 30 standard size wine bottles. You can buy them from most wine supply stores or really just recycle the ones that you already have. That's what I tend to do now that I've really gotten into the hobby. And just for the sake of trivia, if you were doing a 1-gallon kit, you would only need 5 standard size bottles. Once you're ready to start, just make sure you have your bottles ready and in an accessible area so you're not going to face too much difficulty in swapping them out. I wanted to include a picture of the sediment that you can sometimes see at the bottom of your carboy once you've got a full fermentation going. While the wine is clear, don't ever be worried about the sediment at the bottom. If you recall back in part 2 when we were talking about the clarifiers, that's essentially what they've done. And now it's time to get started. Once you've got your bottles ready, get your racking cane put together. It's essentially the same process that you use to rack your wine from the fermenter barrel into your carboy, except now we're just going to be siphoning it from the carboy into your individual bottle collection. One of the things that I would suggest getting that we didn't really have the opportunity to put into place before we started getting this batch bottled up is if you can get some sort of a clamp or a siphon cable to kind of pinch off the hose while you're doing your siphoning from your carboy into your bottles, that can generally make the process a lot cleaner. Just because otherwise you're going to be trying to move your hose from one bottle to the next while the wine is still flowing, and having done that before, it can be a very messy sort of situation. Another thing that I would recommend is just have somebody to help you. It's easy to kind of get lost while you're trying to do it solo, between switching the hose over from bottle to bottle and managing the racking cane, keeping it high enough so it doesn't pull up sediment. So if you can get somebody to assist you, I mean, it's going to make it worlds easier. As you can see, I am tipping the carboy in order to get more wine without getting any of the sediment that's at the bottom. That's something that you do want to watch out for. As you start to pull up sediment, that's when you want to stop transferring into bottles. The wine sediments aren't dangerous at all, so that's not something that you do need to worry about, but it can be a little bitter, change the taste, change the look of it, if you drink or chew the crystals, so it's probably something you want to avoid. And now for corking. There are a lot of different options that are available to you when you start the corking process. Most wine stores are going to sell a wide variety of stuff that's available to you. You can choose your natural cork wines, there's a large selection of synthetics, or even if you want to, I would recommend Zorks as an option too. Zorks can be a little trickier to find, but the benefit of them is that you don't need any sort of specific equipment to get them into the bottle. You can really just press them in, and then once you unwind the little tie down, you can even reuse them as corks for the duration of the bottle of wine. I have moved from Zorks to natural corks just because the wine club that I'm part of at my local supply store gives you a pack of 30 corks with each wine kit that you purchase, so hey, I'm not going to complain. So far as corking tools go, I've got a double-handed home corker. It's really pretty handy, very easy to manage just by yourself, and doesn't honestly take a whole amount of strength to do. You just slot your cork into the front plate, push down on the handles, maintain stability of course, and boop! Your wine is corked. There are a lot of different kind of corkers out there. There's floor corkers, tabletop corkers, pneumatic corkers, electronic corkers, so it's pretty much just a matter of what's going to be the easiest for you to keep around, to manage, and honestly how often you make these batches of wine and how many batches you do in a set period. You do want to try to make sure that your cork is fully seated. Sometimes they can pop up a little bit. It's not a problem if it's just a small amount, or sometimes they can go a little bit deeper into the bottle if you happen to like really ream it in there with the corker, but not to worry about that either. Corking can be a little bit time consuming, but honestly it's probably the easiest part of the bottling process. So just take your time and make sure that you have your corks in correctly. After a little time and a little patience, you are done. And since you usually have one bottle that's not 100% full of the wine with a safe amount of headspace, that's the one that I always choose to use as my test or taste test. And with that, you're all done. So I do want to thank you guys for sitting through my series, through watching how easy that making wine really is, and I hope to continue the series and go into some other recipes, working from higher quality kits that include raisin skins and whatnot, or even brewing from wine concentrates, from fruits, or even just from juices that you pick up at the store. I hope that you enjoyed learning about home winemaking, and bottoms up!